Hey everybody, Rabbi Bill Hamilton here, and I'm thrilled this week in Parsha Ponderings to welcome our rabbinic intern, Talia, and our dear friend and teacher, Rabbi David Starr. And we're going to invite Talia, who will actually be part of the Parsha Ponderings for the next several weeks, as yours truly takes a little quiet time to read and write. And we're going to invite Talia to share this week's question from our Parsha.
Thank you. It's great to be here. So this week's Parsha Vayechi, we get the brachas, the blessings for each of Yaakov's sons as he's about to die. And Rashi brings us midrashim that basically foretell what's going to happen with each of the tribes as they correspond to each son. And most of them are pretty bad. Many of the tribes are very flawed, and many of the individuals also were very flawed. And it made me wonder about how we set expectations for people, that maybe if Yaakov had given a bracha that set the expectation high for his sons, that maybe they would have risen to the occasion, but instead he set the bar very low. I'm curious what you guys think about that.
It's a great point. Thank you, Talia, for raising it. My own personal belief is that we tend to, as high as our ideals are, that's how tall we stand. And when we set the bar low, we tend to conform. But when we set it high, we tend to reach and stand a good deal taller. So I very much agree with your assessment. And even though it's not so easy to hear, it represents a very, very important way in which we invite ourselves to surpass what we otherwise might realize in life.
We're all children. We all come into the world as children, and we frequently belittle. We have lots of unfinished business with our parents around this issue oftentimes. You expect too much of me, you expect too little of me. Those of us who have had the privilege and the burden of becoming parents struggle with this all the time. It's one thing to have a kind of a philosophy of what it means to set expectations, but I think we all know that ultimately is really about how we actualize this on a daily basis, on a regular basis. So much of the drama of the Hebrew Bible is going to be Israel struggling with God's expectations.
I think that Yaakov could have been a little more hopeful. It feels like Yaakov is just expressing disappointment about his children, and I want to see him expressing, oh, well, you've been disappointing, but you can do better.
It's an excellent point. I don't think the book of Genesis is a great parenting manual, and I think that may in many ways make it more accessible, since none of us are the stellar parents that we swore we would be when we were being parented.
I mean, the other kind of funky model of expectations that this book closes with, of course, is Joseph and his brothers, which is a totally different kind of a model, in some ways much closer to what, Talia, I think you are referring to, which is Yosef grows. Look how much he grows in terms of his ability to be loving and to be compassionate, understanding, but also pushing his brothers to grow.
You guys are great teachers. I mean, I feel like between Talia's fabulous question and comments and Dave, your points are really compelling, which gives me new appreciation for why the parent-child thing is actually in the Ten Commandments, because it's the most fraught and the most challenging. And that's also, of course, the way in which our Avinu Malkeinu dynamic is between us and our maker and sustainer, our God, too. As we contemplate all these things, rich ideas this week, again, we're happy that Rabbi Bonnie Cohen is enjoying a well-deserved week off. I'll miss you in the coming weeks, but I look forward to learning from Talia, from Rabbi Starr, from Rabbi Bonnie Cohen in the weeks ahead, and we wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom.
shalom.
Good Sabbath.
Good Shabbos.